Introducing the entirely new 2001 Aurora by Oldsmobile. You whip through curves precisely.
Ever since the drive home from the dealership where I bought this car, used car dealership, I've had an issue with the rear doors. Initially, it showed up as getting a false rear door ajar message and lights going on and dingers dinging. And then it went to not having any working rear window switches or door locks. I had to manually unlock and lock the rear doors. So I did a lot of research and initially thought it was the rear control module. Ended up changing that a few times and it didn't fix the problem. So I went a little farther and did a little more research and found this posting on an Aurora Owners Club forum, which described my problem exactly. So this video is me accessing this little connector underneath the driver's seat and repairing it. And it starts with removing the front seat. To remove the driver seat, we need to start by disabling the SIR, and then that is the pulling a fuse under the back. So I went ahead and lifted up the bottom of the rear seat, and that exposed the fuse block, and I took out the fuse that disabled the SIR. With that done, went back to the manual to look at what it would take to remove the carpeting, and the first thing I need to do is to remove the driver's front seat. So we're assuming that's the trim seat track fastener trim cover. I'll get my trim removal tool and gently, carefully, ever so carefully pry it off. So to get this one off, you just push it forward. It slides into these two little slots. And this one here, it also slides forward, but you need to release those two little wings, tabs, whatever, and then it slides forward. That exposes the last two screws holding the seat base on there and there. So this works, this lever here, which is now in the unlock position, would flip back. In order to get the yellow plug loose, you first pull this locking tab out of the way, and then you will lift up this little tab here and slide the two of them apart. And you can see how much of that is left. So now it's just a matter of lifting out the seat. The instructions are, with a helper, remove the seat. Well, when you're by yourself, like I am, at least out in the garage, I slid it forward. I kind of tilted the top away from the door. That allowed me to work the bottom out. And once I got the side of the seat on the sill, I was able to just slide it out without hurting myself or the seat. One of the issues that was reported on the internet as contributing towards rear windows and locks not working is that there's somewhere under here, and I'll get to that, some contacts, some connections, and when stuff gets wet, which can happen because of the sunroof, and this is definitely quite wet, even a little bit back here, so I need to deal eventually with the drain tube, but also the fact that this does not sit up what I would consider snug against the opening. So I've tried different things. I don't think without the key it's going to work. Anyway, I'll have to address that. I knew when I had this A-pillar cover, I saw a tube. We'll have to investigate whether that has got a clog. First, we'll start by removing the mats to expose what's supposed to be under there. Carpet replacement front. So I want to just take it out so that I can dry it and access whatever's underneath it. But it appears that it is held in place by the center console. But since I have a replacement new panel there, that wood piece, I may as well go forth with the effort of doing what they talk about. So once the seats are out, then I need to remove the front floor console. So I go to 8634. Thought I had a marker for that. 8634, console replacement. Remove the IP trim plate. I need to go to 8607. So that is back here. And IP center. So that would be this here. And blah, blah, blah. Pry the trim panel off. Okay, let's give that a try. Okay, we're going to take stuff out of the way, and then we'll very carefully work it in behind here and remove that panel. Wish me luck. So starting at the bottom, just very carefully pried, and you will see that there's a catch there. Catch there. That was the tough one to get out, and I'm not sure what's holding it in at the bottom. Okay, that long thing sticks into something under there. Yeah, there's something under there. All right, that kind of was loose, so maybe something's missing. Anyway, on to the directions. Next thing is the console trim plate, 631. Trim plate, console. That is this whole thing here. Blah, blah, blah. I've already redone. Place protective plate, remove the shift knob. There are no clips, pins, or fasteners. Pull straight up, remove console trim plate. Screws go through the top. So let's get to that space. Alright, so the handle did just pull straight up. And of course this one is so set back there, even with my pinky holding it, the screw fell down into the nether reaches. So hopefully I'll find it when I go and remove this. So the next part of the directions are carefully insert a plastic trim tool, pry upward to disengage the two rear retainer clips. So have to remember to disconnect, I don't know, they told me that, disconnect those three plugs that go to switches that are on that panel. I did start at the bottom, at the rear, just with my fingernails, was able to pry that and then work it forward. It's helpful if you put the shifter all the way down into one, and lo and behold, there's the screw that had fallen. It's just sitting there waiting for me. So onward and forward. The next back to, where were we? That console tray is out, is the storage bin. Remove that. So that's just a bunch of screws down in there, Phillips head screws. I'm sure they're down in there, so we'll take care of them. So with these two screws out, this just pops off. And then with that out of the way, probably 2 hands. That just comes out, and I left the screws down in the bottom. So moving along, back to the directions. Storage bin dealt with. So got the tray insert out, console trim panel, and that would be this piece here. It says pull at the rear, disengage the clip, but I think I saw a screw there. That screw, I'm going to take that out. So this panel came out from the transmission tunnel, just as it was supposed to. They said pull the back a little bit out, which I did. Disengage that clip, and lo and behold, those two, by pulling this way, rearward, came loose. So what's the next thing? I think I'm to the point where I'm going to have to make a hard choice. I can't get that seat out easily because there's another car parked right over there, and I can't really drive this one out to relocate it. So the question will be, do I just pry up the carpet enough and hold it up so that it can get air around it and dry, and at the same time investigate where that connection is before I go any farther? I've got it to the point where I can replace that wood colored panel like I wanted to with one that a nicer one that I got from LKQ Pick Apart. So that being said, let's look at how we can get this carpet up enough to dry and look underneath, see if that's good enough. So I really can't get this carpet up as much as I want, so I've loosened those 2 screws here. Let's see if that kind of removes this brace. Raise things up a little bit more. I guess that's still kind of retained in there. Anyway, I don't think I need to deal with that one at this point. Kind of the part of the issue is it's relatively stiff because I need to get rid of these screws. Add them to the collection. Add them to the collection. So looking underneath, and it's soaking soggy wet, is this foam pad, and it's just a big stinky sponge right now. I think that is where the drain comes down, but maybe not. Anyway, let's keep going. It's real connected in there. So it's just too wet. I need to get that whole carpet out of there. So we'll continue to remove the center console. I didn't remove that seat, but it is out, hopefully enough out of the way that I can access what I need to get that center console up and out. I will get the console trim panel from the right side off. Lovely. Let's get into serious crap here. Remove the shifter cable. Remove the shift lock cable. Remove the main wire and harness connection. IP storage compartment door. Remove a fastener. Yeah, we'll just start pulling things loose. So I must have missed it, but that plate's got to come out. 2 black screws there and there are all that's holding that in, and then it just is extracted. I'll have to undo that connector to the lighter. I need another hand for that. So in order to get
the shifter cable off, you need to pry that little tab, which pulls a little nipple out of that slot, allowing you to slide that up out of that recess, and then a screwdriver to pry this little ball joint kind of thing off of the ball, which is hidden right down there. That's silver. The cable actually goes behind that metal plate. Then to get the park lock off, you pull this up out of that square slot, and then this little wire end ball, it slides down into, there's a opening and a slot in that orange plastic piece. So both those at this point are loose, and we'll see what's next in the instructions. Remove the console main wire harness connection that I saw. Open the IP storage compartment door. Remove fastener 1. Alright, that is on the passenger side. So that nut and another one kind of hidden back in that upper corner have come out. I haven't gotten to that whole IP connector baloney, but we're going to put both those nuts in the cup. Alright, they are talking about that black screw right there, and this is the glove box. They call it an IP compartment, whatever the heck that's for. Anyway, that is out, and it's going into the cup of fasteners. But what's after that? Turning the page. Let's hope we're running out of instructions. Remove the fasteners from the console to the IP 1 and 2. So I just got those 2 nuts off. I've got to find number 2. Let's work on that. So I've got a pointer, but it's like disappearing. There we go. So that is the screw right there. Once that comes out, we get to go on to the next step. Next step being more screws. Yay. They're over here, actually. All right, so there is a connection that goes to the parking lock. That has to come out. You remove that and you push down, and it's pretty apparent how it comes out. And then once that is all loose, you should be able just to pull this out and away and back. Make sure everything here is off. It appears to be 2 hands. So I did indeed just slide back, because we had to come off of these 2 threaded studs out there. This just kind of fell. I believe it, pretty sure it goes there. I think it's air conditioning to cool the console or something. Anyway, it's there. So now I would presume, we'll go back to the instructions. Now that the console is out, that brace, hopefully once the brace is out, the carpet is free. So I've removed the floor console. Now it wants me to remove the center pillar garnish molding. Refer to 8/11/86. Garnish molding. Okay, so it's that schmancy stuff. Front carpet retainer. Oh, it just keeps getting more fun. Front carpet retainer, $11.75. Why didn't they send me there first? It's just the way it's done. Carpet replaner, open the door, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's already out. So I've done that. Those things that go on the sills. Okay. Where was I? So 1186. Yeah, so I've done that. Rear carpet retainer. I guess I've done that. Oh, that's that big side thing. Well, I don't think I need to take that off. I already pulled the carpet out from underneath it without taking it off. Taking it off just risks breaking clips. All right, back to carpet. So I'm going to have to fix the problem because that is just dripping out of the rear carpet. The front carpet is soaking wet. It's sitting on the hood. I should move this to the roof, but I need to work on the sunroof mechanism, so I'll move it to the trunk and get the shop vac out. Start shop vacuuming out water. So on the form there is a splice in this harness. This harness has been sitting in water. I will pull back the armoring, shielding, whatever, and expose the wires that are in there, and we'll see if we can find splices that have corroded. So that, I learned how to point. So that is the splice joint, and it is all wet. So we're gonna try to take it apart and clean it and see if, lo and behold, the windows, lo and behold, to see if the windows open. So for a test, I pulled the wires out of the splice and just connected all four ends. The requirement is that these wires initially were continuous. That splice just connected one wire to the next, allowing all the signal for the serial data to make its way to the computer and back to the window. So with those four ends now all connected together, the windows go up and down via the switches in the door, also via the driver's switch. Nothing is locking right now, and I think it has to do with the fact that the doors are open, maybe. We'll give that a try next, see if closing the door will allow the locks to lock. Alright, I just manually locked them. Now when I go to hit unlock, they work. Back doors. Both of them lock. I'm sorry, both of them unlock. But again, with the door open, oh, there they go. Everything is locking and unlocking. Now, everything is taped and shielded and stuck back down into where it needs to be. So the next step is to return the carpet to the back. Carpet has been out, all fully aired out, completely dry. So the front and rear carpet is in. The sills and door trim are in. I'd vacuumed them. So now we move on to the console. So the console is in. The trick is to make sure that you install that little bracket on both sides before you slide it in, because you can't engage it into its slots with the console sitting where it is. Black screws, blackhead screws are the ones that show. The zinc are the ones that don't show. Down on the inside here, we've got the parking lock replaced in there. We plugged in that connector and put in that lock. We've slid the parking lock mechanism there into the sheet metal slot, slid the shifter cable into there. An issue, somehow I broke off the clip that goes into there, so I will zip tie that so it won't go anywhere. Got the main connection put in place. Oh, one thing, I did make sure that the piece of ducting was there before I put the console in. Slipped it on over the edge. I've got one connector here. I have to figure out where it goes. I know this goes to the traction control. This goes to a seat heater. That goes to a seat heater. But I've got one there. I gotta figure it out where it goes. It may go to, I don't know, I know. I bet you it goes to this is probably power to the power port in the door. All right, my next task is to find the replacement switch for the passenger seat heater. Somewhere in here. Okay, I got an Oldsmobile box. Let's hope it's in there. So, it was in the box. Hallelujah. So now, come over to, I've got the new panel piece that has a functioning locking door there. I need to move the switches from the old one, whose door did not. Oh, now it's going to work. No, it's. Oh, let's see. Maybe it is going to work. Maybe I only transfer. Well, we'll see. This one looks nicer. This one's a little bit scratched up. All right, moving on. We'll figure this out. So, a little bit of a struggle. I could not get this screw out. I didn't have the right size Torx. What I ended up doing, the whole main reason I wanted to trade was that this door was not staying closed. But now, by replacing this little latching thing right up there with one from that panel, it now opens and closes. So now I'm making sure that I've got all of the clips that I need. I'm missing one here. Like it shows here. I got that one. I got this one up here. So it looks like I need to see if this one is stuck in the console. All right, that pocket compartment, whatever, slid in. I did plug in that cable to the back of that port. And those two tiny screws hold it in place. Now we're ready for the garnish piece, whatever that thing is called. So after remembering to plug those 3 in and having to shift the shifter down to the lowest position, I was able to maneuver this in and it just snaps into place. There's no screws holding it. So onward and forward. I think this goes in next. And then we also have that big front panel piece snaps into that opening. So I got 8 screws in there. This frame goes above and goes underneath that. Put the side panels in, they slide forward once you engage all the hooks on both sides. I got the shifter knob back on. Yeah, that panel is back on. So we are down to the seats and 3 extra screws. Hopefully it will turn up where they go. But the seats are going in. Everything is back in around there the way it needs to be, so I don't know where those screws came from. Everything is back in place now. The seats are bolted in, the covers are in, floor mats are in. I put the fuse back in for the seat restraint and put the back seat in. Rear floor mats are in. Covers over the rear, or the one cover on the inside is on. So on to the next project.
Introducing the remarkably agile, entirely new 2001 Aurora.